I've had the privilege of directing 19 excavations in Israel at 16 different locations under the auspices of Eli Shukrun with the Israeli Antiquities Authority. Eli Shukrun is waiting to Zoom with us for 10 or 12 minutes. And hopefully he will be present in person 1 year from now to describe specifically what's going on in excavations. And I'm always relieved when something works. Now, the lady by his side, his wife, is custodian of the Dead Sea Scrolls. So we are speaking with the elite in Israel. Eli, can you hear me? Is it live?
Yes.
All right, my dear friend. You are on the big screen, our first use of our big screen. Welcome back to Glen Rose. And you know, we're officially inviting you to be with us a year from now. I'll give you the details later. And it was this is one of my very finest friends. I'll give a brief introduction and then he will describe what he has done. I received a call early 2005, I believe, from Israel that they had discovered the pool of Siloam where Jesus healed the man born blind. I thought, oh, that's marvelous. I must see it. Within months, I was in the presence of the man who made that discovery. He is our special guest today, Israeli archaeologist Eli Shukrun. In addition to that, he later discovered Melchizedek's altar. And I am convinced that it is Melchizedek's altar for a number of reasons. He has published on that in the technical literature, both of those. And then he discovered a little bell that fell from the hymn of the high priest in 70 AD while Jerusalem was burning on the 9th of Av. And now with that introduction, would you please welcome our dear friend, Israeli archaeologist, Premier Eli Shukrun. We can hear you just fine. Yes, yes.
Okay. Hello everyone. Thank you, Dr. Gordon. I'm going to talk a little bit about my excavation in the city of David. I started to do the excavation there in 1995. And we will talk about three very important findings that I found in my excavation. One of them is like the pool of love, and you was part, you team, and you was part of our excavation. And it was a great time. You know, it was 2004, and we started to build some drainage tunnels, and time. And I was there by accident. But I was there. I didn't want part of the people that are in charge of this area. And there's some Israel supervisor from the authority that was in charge to look to see if there's something happening there. And I am coming just after this, okay, it's okay to put the pipe there, drain channel, to cover it with dirt. I was there, and then I heard I was with my friend, and then I heard the sound of the bulldozer scratching the stone. I didn't see anything about it, anything about what's going to happen. And after 1, 2, 3 times, he taking the dirt and scratching and the stone, and then I start to clean the dirt, and then we found 3 stairs. Then everyone coming and talking from the municipality, engineering, Antiquity Authority, National Park. And after that meeting, they told me, Eli, you have 10 days to do some excavation there. No one knew exactly what's going to happen, but I felt that something very important going to found there in this place. And then I started to do excavation there, and then I found 10 stairs going down. This was in 2004. And then everyone understand that we need to make that excavation bigger and bigger, and then we start to find more from the Pool of Siloam. And from that moment also, I think 2004, 2005, I felt that if we found the Pool of Siloam, we must connect it to the temple that was on Mount Moriah. We must connect that to the Western Wall in some way, because already there they found the pilgrimage road. So I said, if there's a pilgrimage road close to the Western Wall, why not to connect the Pool of Siloam with the pilgrimage road? And just now we heard that it was opening, but all that dream started when we found the Pool of Siloam in 2004, and we started our excavation. And of course, your team was helping me. In 2005, we did excavation in the tunnels below the Pool of Siloam, and part of the pilgrimage road. We start to found it, and some from the pool itself, from the stair. So it was a great time to understand that you found something very important finding, and to connect it with what's happened before 2000 years ago, the connection between the pool and the temple, and of course the connection with the Bible, and we're talking of course about the John chapter 9, the miracle with the blind man, first time that he said, oh, this is what's happening here, oh, the blind man was walking on that stairs going to the Pool of Siloam. So it was exciting to do that kind of excavation, finding, not just for the archaeology, also for the future, to people that coming to Jerusalem, coming to the city of David, coming to found that place, coming to see that place, to get the connection with what's happening here before 2000 years ago. It's amazing. And today, of course, it was opening from the Pool of Siloam all the way to the Western Wall, to Robinson Arch area, so the people can walk from the pool all the way up to the top, more than 2,000 feet. Beautiful finding that we found in the Pool of Siloam, and this was one of my important findings that I found in Jerusalem. The other thing that we found, this was in 2004, and we continued doing the excavation there till 2009, 2010. But we didn't do excavation just in the Pool of Siloam. I did excavation also around the Gihon Spring. And when talking about around the Gihon Spring, we started there in 1995. But very exciting finding found in 2010. And this is what we call Melchizedek Temple. And Melchizedek Temple, look, what's happening there, it was, you're doing excavation, you're not thinking that you're going to find something important, you're doing your job. But wherever we started to find different kind of finding there, the room is different, everything is different, and then we found the pillar, the pillar is the connection, and then you take in the Bible and you start to read the Bible, and there's the pillar, just amazing finding, and then taking the Bible, and you're talking about Genesis 28, you're talking about Jacob and about the pillar and what's happening in his story, what it did with what we found in the excavation. You can see one by one what we found and what the Bible is talking about, and who was living in Jerusalem in that time, who's this king, and then you do the connection. And this is amazing what's happening, because we start to understand that we're in a very, very important place. Very important place that was built before 3,800 to 3,700 years ago, in the time of Melchizedek. And how we can understand that by the finding, okay? And the finding, most important finding, this is the pillar, the matzebah, and the pillar is this, the connection. And what you're doing, are you worshiping God in His time? You take the olive oil and you anointed the stone, and we found the olive press. And we found a place for when it's the sacrifice animal. We found the pillar as a connection. And in verse 22, the saying, this stone is set up as a pillar, this is the house of God. So this is the connection with God. And you anointed the pillar. So everything started to connect it together. Everything started to understand who is Melchizedek and how he worshiping God. And this was, again, I didn't dream that I'm going to found it. I didn't dream that I'm going to do something, that we're going to find something that connected to that. By the finding, we understand what we have. So it means that, you're doing some excavation and you try to find finding, to understand the life of the people, and then you found something very, very huge to understand the connection between God and the people in Jerusalem before so many years ago, and of course Melchizedek, the high priest, to one God. And then the question was, what's happened when King David took the city of Jerusalem from the Jebusites people? We talked about before 3,000 years ago, where King David was worshiping God. And then you start to understand, maybe in this place, before they bring the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem. So, and then where King Solomon was anointed. And then you understand he was anointed above the Gibeon spring. So where is this place? Here, where we are, where we found the pillar, where we found the connection with God. Maybe in this place. So everything, all this story, biblical stories start that talking about David, Melchizedek, Abraham, and Solomon. Everything was starting to connect it together. And it's an amazing finding. Why? Because we understand how people were worshiping God in that time. And this is what I'm always saying, if you look to Mesopotamia, if you look to Egypt, you can see the big temple with the big idol and gold and everything. Here, worshiping God, you don't need that. You need just the connection with God. And what is the connection with God? The pillar, the connection with God. And this is just amazing. Other thing that we start to do, we start to search about if there's any place like that in the world that look like that. And there's no place in the world, in archaeology in the world, that look like what we found in the city of David. The only place that we have that is just in the city of David. And why? Because this is the only place where the people are worshiping God before they build the temple on Mount Moriah. King Solomon built the temple on Mount Moriah. So it's a huge finding and a connection finding, and to understand that which were people worshiping God in the time of Melchizedek and in the time of King David. So it's a huge finding that found in 2010. This found in 2010. From that finding, I'm going and connected again to the temple that go back to the second temple period. And second temple period, we're talking about the Golden Bell. And the Golden Bell was very, very interesting finding, because we found that below the Western Wall, and below the Western Wall, we found the Golden Bell. It was amazing finding. Why? Because when I found it, I didn't understand what we found, and I hold it in my hand, and then I shake it, and then I heard a sound. I said, if there's a sound, so maybe this is a bell. And then we got to search about bell in the Bible time, and then we found that the high priest in the book of in the Bible, talking about the robe of the high priest, and book of Exodus, I think, in the 28, they're talking about the robe of the high priest, and in the robe of the high priest, we're talking about the golden bell. And this is just amazing finding, because we're talking about Jerusalem, we're talking about golden bell, because it's gold, and it's make a sound. I said, okay, let's check what we have inside, in that kind of finding. And what I found a clipper that going down and a 4 millimeter with a rope, metal rope, and this makes the sound. And this is just amazing find, because we tell us about the high priest in Jerusalem before 2,000 years ago. And then I start to understand that this is the only finding that we have today that was in the temple before 2,000 years ago, in the time of Jesus. This is the only find that yes, please.
With that introduction, we have a presentation to make. You are the discoverer, and remember, you worked with a jeweler in Jerusalem to make a replica, a specific exact replica. In this little box is a rare and precious exact replica commissioned by Eli Shukrun, the discoverer. Now, in the last couple of minutes with my dear friend Eli Shukrun, Eli, 1 year from now, the 3rd of October, 2026, we're going to have a Jewish Appreciation Conference, our first annual conference. And if your schedule will permit, it will be a delight to have you as one of the featured speakers to take a full hour to explain all of the current excavations, these discoveries that you've made. And it is always a delight to see you, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And before I will visiting Texas next year, maybe we'll see you all in Israel soon. I hope that everything will be better in Israel. The peace is very. I hope that the peace is going to be will come very soon.
Well, it just so happens that our premier guest, Eli Shukrun, is now a tour guide. Now, I have a lot of very fine tour guide friends in Israel, but if I went back to Israel, I would want Eli Shukrun, who made actual discoveries, to take me to the places and explain precisely what they have to say to him. But he said something about 5 minutes ago that warmed my heart. He said he searched the Bible to see how this corresponded with what is in Scriptures. Eli, you must believe that the Bible is accurate, that the Hebrew Scriptures are correct.
Yeah, this is the deal. This is what I'm saying a lot of time, you know. Whether you're doing excavation, it's fine, but first you must believe the Bible. And you must connect the Bible with the finding. This is the most important, to see the truth by the finding. And this is what we call biblical archaeology. This is what I did around 25 years doing excavation in Jerusalem. And this is a gift and that I gave to the world. You know, it's like God sent me. Sent me to do that excavation, found that finding for the people in the world, and I'm so excited about to share what I found and other things that connected with the Bible with the people. And this is what we are doing when we are traveling, seeing the places by the eyes, touching that places by the hand, you know. And this is important, the connection and the feeling when you come into the land of Israel. But I want to see another thing about the Golden Bell, and this is what I said, it's the only finding that we have today that was in the temple before 2000 years ago. Finding that we found in the excavation that was in the temple before 2000 years ago, and this amazing finding to have another connection between God and us through the temple that was on Mount Moriah before 2000 years ago in the time of Jesus. This is very, very important, the connection.
What an amazing statement from an amazing...